Victoria. According to Wikipedia, it's the most populated city on the island, which makes everything else a ghost town, I guess. Similar story to my Montreal trip from last year, just something more casual with my dad. And despite it being even closer to home than last year's trip, I was still amazed by the difference in community and culture here. I'm not particularly sure how much content I'll be able to set out of this vlog this time around, but I hope you enjoy my day-to-day experiences in Victoria. Similar to last year, this had to involve a lot of waiting. It's a trip, so what's new, honestly? However, this time it started off with a road trip. Unlike the last trip, however, instead of waiting at 1 a.m. and flying through the night into the morning, this had me waking up at 7 a.m. Which for summer is pretty difficult for me, I'll be completely honest. So with no energy, we drive over to the ferry and wait there for a while. Certainly favorable to flying, at least in this short term. I was told it could be hell across long distances. But being able to get up, visit a restaurant despite not having anything there, yeah, it was amazing. Also, you can go outside in these. Can't imagine that would be a good choice over an airplane. Now, of course, I've used ferries before. It's just been a while, so the experience was very nice. And holy fuck, the view is incredible. I got lots and lots of footage of something that isn't actually the trip itself. Oh well. They also had these flyers for various places you could go to in the island, so I had to pick up a bunch of these motherfuckers just to find out some cool shit to check out. Hell, these were actually pretty convenient since it's easier to cite places I went to and have these as additional footage in case I didn't record much in a particular area, which just so happened a lot here. It's kind of funny. Last year I had the issue of not filming enough because I was a shy teenager, but now that I've accepted myself as the YouTube leech on society that I am, I just started forgetting to film. Anyways, we'd get off the ferry and start our drive to Victoria from there. Arriving there was pretty funny since we couldn't actually access the condo we were staying in until later that afternoon, so yeah, we had lots of time to explore. The fact we were able to occupy ourselves for that long should be evident that this place has a lot going on. The biggest quality I'd attribute to Victoria is just how much they cater to niches. Like, I don't think there's that many places out there where you can have a used game store, board game store, comic book store, arcade, Japanese import shop, and multiple designer clothing stores and art galleries all within walking distance from each other. So of course, a weirdo like me was having an absolute wet dream in a place like this. They also had antique stores, but who gives a fuck? And you want to know the best part? You could do all of that while high on weed. The focus on culture and pop culture here is unlike anything I've ever seen. Anywhere, normally places like this would be much more spread apart, and considering this place has a relatively low population, I'm in awe at how much they have of all these. But honestly, a lot of the people I see on the streets here seem to be the type of people who'd stop at all these niche stores. You can't go 30 minutes walking through the city without finding at least one person who's in some of the most unique clothing you've ever seen. Like, so many motherfuckers are absolutely dripping here, you would not believe it. I started realizing how bland my clothing choices are. They also had a thrift store, and yeah, you know I had to check it out to see if they had anything of interest there. They had a likewise red-ringed Xbox 360, two Skylanders portals, which I had to be interested in until I realized they were both for the Xbox 360 version, and a metric fuckton of Wii and Xbox 360 games. Oh, and also PS2 games. I don't own a Wii, so the majority of their offerings were basically useless to me, but they had so much shovelware that I would have loved to do a live stream of. If I ever get a Wii, I'll try to find listings of some of the games I found here. Hell, even at Ninja Breadman and Anubis do. Most of the Xbox 360 games are things I already own, but they're all goated games, so it doesn't matter. Sorry to anyone who was waiting for me to stream Planet 51 the game or Portal 2. Though, and honorable mention of the fact they had the first 4 Skylanders games, so basically all the goated ones that everyone agrees are good. After we left, we went out walking for a while, and finding some places we could potentially eat in the future. We go to our condo and kind of just slept for a bit. Well, at least my dad was sleeping. Yeah, despite barely getting any sleep last night, I kind of, didn't give a fuck and spent a lot of that time editing a video. It was my OG Xbox video, if anyone's wondering. Yeah, I do sort of regret spending a lot of time there, either drawing or editing. But then again, if I go too long without making something artistic, then I might actually go insane. Don't worry, I'd sleep eventually. Waking up, we decide on dinner, as there were multiple options we saw while walking out earlier that day, and we started walking to the Earls they had. Until my dad changed his mind incredibly last minute, decided we to go to Cactus Club instead. How last minute? We were literally crossing the street and this motherfucker changed his direction halfway across. Oh my fucking god. After dinner, we'd continue walking through Victoria, went near the Parliament, walked near Chinatown, nothing much to comment on there. We go out, we went to Tim's to fill up that stereotype quota, and walk back to the Parliament. I was able to get this paper stand of my VTuber out for filming, and I don't know why, but having footage of my persona outside the fucking Canadian Parliament is just the funniest thing to me. Afterwards, it was just walking around the James Bay area for the hell of it. It took a lot of time, but we enjoyed it. It was kind of funny, actually. The downtown area was just so compact, but once you get outside of that, at least from what I saw, it was very relaxed. After a few hours spent, we returned to our apartment, and I kept on editing and working on some art. And once we headed out yet again, we went to the Victoria Bug Zoo. As someone who likes designing monster characters, I was mainly interested for the artistic inspiration. The place was absolutely awesome. Apparently, I went here 13 years ago for my 4th birthday, but as you can imagine, I can't really remember any of that. We had dinner, somewhere. It was a local area, and I had fish and chips there, but good god. Remember last year when I'd show the exterior of a place before walking in it? Fuck, dude, I wish I remembered to do that this time around, because I could not find the name of this place. Oh well. Alright, enough of that doing actually interesting things bullshit. Arcade, let's fucking go! Yeah, so I finally played some of the games they had there, and my god, they had an absolutely amazing selection. It was mainly retro stuff, but they had some more recent media like Mario Kart Arcade. They were one of the cool arcades, as in focused more on the games themselves rather than having tickets or anything. Just buying tokens and playing games with said tokens. They had everything you want out of one of these. Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, Gauntlet Legends, beat-em-ups, racing games. It was awesome. All they need is Dig Dug, DDR, or Taiko no Tatsujin, and it'd be a perfect arcade. Just kidding, they didn't have Pac-Mania 0 out of 10. Some games that I didn't even know about had an arcade release, like Dr. Mario. I will not be showing you any footage of me playing Dr. Mario, because I suck dick at it. Oh yeah, and also they had Asteroids Deluxe. The score seems pretty low on that, so I would probably have been able to beat the score if I had more experience. Anyways, I'll give some basic highlights of the games I had my first impressions with. First off, Baby Pac-Man. I've never played this one, and I knew it existed, but not much beyond that. Half Pac-Man, half Pinball, and both of them are half-baked. No power pellet in the Pac-Man side of things, which makes things extremely difficult and not very fun, if I'm being honest. And then you enter these weird things at the bottom of the screen to go into pinball gameplay, which is much better, but still pretty simple. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever come back to this game, but it's a pretty good gateway drug into pinball games. Who knows, maybe next time in an arcade I'll try some of their pinball offerings. What? Oh, what the hell? Okay. Next up is a game I'm honestly pretty embarrassed to say that I've never played before, but Ms. Pac-Man. I'm not going to lie for a second here, this is probably one of my favorite Pac-Man variations, period. It's your typical maze Pac-Man game, except everyone is on fucking cocaine. Jesus Christ, they're so fast. This makes the game both easier and harder, and one hell of a lot more fun. The room moving around is such a great addition. The cutscenes are absolutely adorable that make me enjoy the romance between two circles without realizing how absurd that is. Absolutely fire game overall. The color variety from maze to maze is appreciated, and I was this close to beating the high score. Oh well. Bad idea. What the hell was that? They actually give you invincibility frames, so that's pretty awesome. I was actually look at the footage to see that. So, I was going to write an entire thing about Bubble Bobble, but then I realized that we didn't get any footage of me playing Bubble Bobble, so, good game, moving on. With all the arcade blabber out of the way, afterwards we went to a place that I immediately knew I had to go to from the moment I saw it the first day, Circle K. Some of you guys might remember last year's vlog where we went to a place called Couche-Tard, which here in BC they're better known as Circle K, or for the OGs, Max. I find the differences between Circle K in BC and Couche-Tard in Montreal fascinating, so I just wanted to mention it here. Though, in my personal opinion, Circle K is better, but I might be a bit biased, who knows. Anyways, we slept, that's all for the day. Not much to go over for how the day started. Had breakfast, you know the drill. Went to chorus that day, and the only reason I'm bringing this up is because I got a smoothie from there, right? But as we were talking in there, I remember this one time on a live stream where I talked with Chad about why I think straws are useless and why I don't need them for drinks, stating the only exception were things with thicker consistencies, like milkshakes or smoothies. And when I was there, I realized, why the fuck would I need a straw to drink a smoothie? And so I drank that motherfucker strawless. It did not impact my experience, and it might have even improved it. Fuck you, not having straws is better, cope and seethe. Okay, straw tangent aside, afterwards we went to somewhere which I imagine is bigger in tourism, called Craigdarrow. We went to a castle, okay? We went to a fucking castle. It was a very nice walkthrough, took lots of photos, might have it as art inspiration, but other than that, there is much to comment on. These exit signs are funky as fuck though. Afterwards, we took a small road trip to Victoria Butterfly Gardens, and for once, this was a place where I got a lot more footage in. Not much to comment on, but I'd highly recommend going there, it's very peaceful. The gift shop of the gardens had some cool stuff, like these extremely cursed turtles that look scarier than most Halloween decor I've ever encountered, and these little animals on ski lifts, cute as fuck honestly. Alright, on to what we did next. Yeah, so I finally went to the used game store over there, Fan Favorites Games and Movies. As the name suggests, they also sold old movies over there. But I didn't really care about any of that, so I just picked up some of the games they had. I decided to get some things for my original Xbox. From a timeline sense, this was really weird, as before I made the video about having an original Xbox, I was already getting more games for it. Oh well. They also had a lot of weird yet fascinating games over there, something called Sneakers, and a copy of Zapper, something I only know from Nitro Rad's review on it a while ago. They also had a few Saints Row games, but I didn't pick any up. But onto the games I actually did get. As you guys are most likely aware from my original Xbox video, I got a copy of Sega GT 2002 and Jet Set Radio Future. Haven't played Sega GT yet, but I have played Jet Set Radio Future, and let me tell you guys, this is already shaping one of my favorite games of all time. I'd highly recommend. Next up, we have the game adaptation for Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 1. I plan to play this on live stream because Spider-Man is pretty hype at the moment. No idea if the game is good, but I heard lots of good stuff from it, so I'm assuming it is. Anyways, the last game I got was something I never actually heard of, but piqued my fascination beyond compare. Brute Force. Like, just look at this dude. I love everything about this box art, ironically and unironically. It's this bizarre mix of absolutely badass and so absurdly goofy that you can't take it seriously. And out of the 3 games I got, this is the only one where the disc doesn't work. Fuck! Like, the more I learn about this game, the more I want to play it. It has the most detailed manual I've ever seen for a video game, completely in color, houses multiple character bios and lore about the game. It apparently sold really well, but like, no one remembers or talks about it. Like, how the fuck? I am so fascinated by this. If I ever get a working copy, then I'd love to do a review for it. Okay, that is the last time I talk about video games extensively in this video, I promise. We keep browsing some other areas nearby, the used game store and 2 other cool places. 2 more hobby stores, absolutely insane. 1 board game store, which also sold popcorn for some reason. Gimmicky, and I love that. And a vintage toy store, which seems to have not been open at the time. Oh well, it was still cool as fuck. Leaving the apartment, we walked around Victoria one last time before going on the road trip back to the ferry. It was a good time, but not much was going on as usual. I've never cringed so hard at a public advertisement in my life. Good God. What the fuck? And that about sums up our trip to Victoria. Like last year, this was extremely casual, but I still had a lot of fun with it. It was nice to notice some smaller details. Once again, they too have different stoplights, though it was hard to get footage of it. This place is absolutely phenomenal for anyone with niche hobbies. I'd highly recommend going there if anything mentioned interests you. Oh yeah, and of course I gotta do all that like and subscribe bullshit. Engagement goes a long way, yada yada. I don't do vlogs often, this is primarily a gaming channel, but if my gaming rambles interest you, yeah, I do that. Oh, and also live streams. I live stream video games. That's all by.